Hey, Sarah, are you ready?
I'm a lady.
And welcome to Idol Days, the show about idol anime. I'm Star.
And I'm Sarah.
And Sarah,
Uh-huh.
my heart did an ouchie.
Oh no! Pew, 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 pew,
You motherfucker, you knew the show was going to cause me harm, and
Yeah,
you
I
recommended it to me anyway.
I did, but I watched it a while ago and it caused me harm, so I need to share it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Just like how I told you to watch A Place Further Than the Universe. Gotta share
Yeah,
all
and that also did me harm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, in case you did not look at the episode title, we're talking about Given today,
Yes.
which is part 1 of Sarah and I recommended shows for the other to watch, mini-series, I guess we're doing?
Yes. I realized when I gave it to Star after the fact I gave it to you, I'm like, this technically isn't an idol anime.
Yeah,
but...
this is the furthest we've gotten from idol anime. But, okay, so listen, here's the caveat I think we can use. So, like, we're probably gonna do a Bang Dream episode, and I feel like that's kind of bridging the gap. They're not idols, but they're boys in a band. They perform on stage. There's a lot of similarities in the tropes and plot points. It counts in the vague sense that Samurai Jam Bakumatsu Rock also counted.
Samurai Jam Bakumatsu Rock was actually the bridge, not Bang Dream. What are you talking about, Star?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do Bang Dream eventually, but that one's more like they have the cute costumes and they dance around on stage, but they are technically band members.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, we're using the adage of it's our podcast and we do what we want, and I want to talk about sad boys.
And I wanted you to talk about sad boys, so here we are.
You know how much I love the sad boys. Like, I talk about my sad fictional boys all the time, and this was a very good sad boy show, and I did cry multiple times, and I talked about it on Twitter, and no one guessed what the show was.
Because it's technically not an idol anime, but
that's
my fault.
You
guys can come at me, but hey, they're good.
Everybody go tell Sarah about how much she doesn't know what an idol anime is. Just rip into her on social media. Sarah's fucking canceled, you guys.
Womp womp.
Making Star talk about a show that's not an idol anime on their idol anime themed podcast.
Wow.
What a fucking scrub.
Scrub.
Anyway, I want to talk about this show.
Yes, talk about Given, Star.
Okay, so first I want to just kind of like go into the plot. So basically, the easiest way to talk about the plot is boys in a band, but they're sad and gay.
Well, some of them are bi. Some of them are bi boys.
That is true. Some of them are bi, but just, I feel like gay is very all-encompassing.
Yes, absolutely.
It's easier to say gay boys than gay boys who are also sometimes bi.
Yes, that's fair.
Anyway, sad gay boys. So this anime is based on, and I believe it's a still ongoing manga. It is BL, if that was not super obvious. And happy Valentine's Day, everyone, like several days late.
Ooh.
This is, I think, in addition to like this being the furthest we've gotten away from idols, I think this is also probably the closest we've gotten to romance, because this is also a romance show. You
completely missed my analysis of Wake Up Girl, Star.
Your analysis was headcanon, you shitty motherfucker. No one kissed in Wake Up Girls, alright?
Oh, see, but I have these implanted memories that they did kiss.
Implanted memories of false truths planted by the idol Illuminati.
Well,
because you're a robot now, Sarah. We've discussed this.
I know. Sarahbot 2.0.
Beep, beep. Beep. Everyone is gay. Beep, beep. That was my impression of you. Did you like it?
The girls kissed. I saw them kiss.
The boys also kiss. Everyone's going to smooch.
Smooch, smooch.
It is canon. Beep, boop.
Beep, boop. Please smooch for me. My robot lips cannot smooch.
My robot lips are cold and hard and unsuitable for loving. Therefore, I must ship the anime characters. And make them smooch.
Beep boop.
Beep boop. I think you need to change your name in the Discord to Sarabot 2.0 and then
I love
just
that idea.
randomly tweet about ships. So the people aren't 100% sure if you're a bot or not.
But here's the deal. We also make a Sarah bot, and it's just really confusing.
We also make the Sarabot a mod, so it has the same name color.
And also it tweets about ships. So tell me now that Beep Boop Sarah knows nothing about human love. Tell me about this anime love, Star.
All right, so this is a show about 4 boys who are in a band. It focuses more on the first 2 boys, who are the 2 guitarists of the band. I think I'm going to introduce the characters as they show up, because you do kind of like gradually introduce them. So the main 2 boys are Ritsuka Uenoyama, who is our main character. He's a little bit broody. He's got kind of like the serious face. He's got like short, kind of like anime choppy black hair. He is the guitarist of the band. And so he plays guitar. He's really good at it. His whole thing is like he's in a band, but he's kind of lost his passion for it. You know?
Yeah.
He's not into it like he used to be. And then the other main character is Mafuyu Sato, and he is a soft sad boy who I love with my entire being. Oh my god. So he's got like this kind of like strawberry red hair. His bangs do the thing that I kind of hate, where like his bangs kind of cross in front of his nose in a hairstyle that only exists in anime.
Yep.
And he's just like, he's real quiet. I wouldn't call him shy necessarily. He just doesn't talk much. He kind of like is very in his own thoughts most of the time, and everyone's like, he just doesn't say much. He's just real quiet. That's his whole shtick.
So I see right now we have a black hair boy and a red hair boy, so I'm already shipping them.
Of course you are. But yeah, so for the sake of the podcast, I'm gonna call them Mafuyu for soft boy, and Uenoyama Ritsuka, I just called him Ue in my notes because it was shorter to type, because both his names are long, and no one except his sister ever calls him Ritsuka. Everyone calls him like Ue-chan or Uenoyama, but that's too long. I just called him Ue.
Ue.
So those are the 2 main boys that we're going to meet at first, and I will introduce the rest of them as we go along. Before we get into the plot of the anime, we're gonna do a content warning.
Yes.
Because I feel like the content warning is going to be a little bit spoilery for the plot of the show, but it's whatever. There is a suicide, not in the show, but it gets brought up a lot. It's part of a character's backstory. If you are not comfy hearing about that kind of thing, you might want to skip this episode, or at least go into it prepared for us to talk about what happens.
Yes. Thank you, Star.
Yes, I felt like that was important. Anyway, so episode 1, first scene. We see our ginger boy, Mafuyu, and he's carrying this guitar in like a soft shell case. And he's like walking to school, and he has this like, he narrates to himself a lot. And he's apparently has this recurring dream, and we see some like snapshots of this dream. It's like him in like this very kind of like cloudy, kind of like blue atmosphere. It's very dark, and he's holding this guitar. It's like this bright red Gibson. It's really pretty, actually. And he's looking up at someone, and we don't really see who it is. And he's like squeezing the guitar so hard that one of the strings on the guitar just fucking snaps, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
So this boy is like very, very some sort of emotion.
Emotions.
And we are going to come back to this scene later because it's important. And when I kind of like rewatched snippets of the show to go back and take notes, I was like, oh, fuck, I understand the scene now. And now it is filling me with a painful emotion. That did an ouchie to me. Because, like, the first time you watch it, you're like, oh, he's having some kind of weird dream. And then you come back to it after watching a few more episodes, and you're like, fuck!
See, what happened is Sarah got killed by the iDOLuminati, and now Star's getting killed by Sarabot 2.0. By
With
making
these emotions.
By the emotions. By making her watch Given.
I know. It's funny because, like, I had to re-listen to our intro episode recently because I was editing it for our new YouTube version of the podcast, which is slowly working its way through the backlog. The first 3 episodes will be up by the time this episode goes up. But I said at some point, if there is an idol show that is a real bummer, I'm probably gonna watch it because I love the drama. And now here I am watching kind of a bummer of a show. And I'm like, oh, this did a ouchie to me. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have season 2, please?
Yes, ouchie.
Anyway, so now we cut to school, and we are introduced to our other main character. So Uenoyama, Ue is here. He is napping. They're on, like, lunch break or something. And he's napping at his desk, and then he goes to his quote-unquote usual spot, which is, like, the staircase behind the gym. But someone else is there who beat him there, who is also having a nap. It's our ginger lad.
Oh.
He is there. He is, like, laying on the floor and just hugging the guitar. Like, it's out of the case, and it just looks very precarious. As someone who does kind of know how to play guitar, not well, but I know enough, I was just like, he's gonna roll over and he's gonna bump it on something. That's a really expensive guitar. Oh, God. Yep. And you see on the guitar that one of the strings is broken. Whoa. And so Ue, like, he wakes up and he's like, oh, there's another person here, but he doesn't say anything. He just kind of, like, sits up and, like, scoots over. Is like, would you also like to take a nap in this spot? And Uenoyama's like, ugh, you're fucking weird. And then he's like, also, one of your strings broken. You need to take better care of your guitar. And Mafuyu, ginger lad, is like, wait, you can fix it? And he's like,
once you break a string, it's broken forever.
It's broken forever. And he's like, wait, you can fix it? And Uenoyama's like, yeah, dumbass. I'm not gonna fix it right now. Okay, fine, I'll fix it right now because you look so fucking sad and you're weird and I just want to take a fucking nap. He's so irritated and it's hilarious.
And then there's the metaphor.
Yup, we're coming back to this fucking guitar string metaphor because, oh boy. But yeah, so he like runs back to the classroom. He happens to have a spare set of guitar strings on him, I guess. So he like goes, gets this spare set of strings, comes back, fixes them, and is like, here's your fucking guitar, it's fixed. And then Mafuyu Ginger Boy is like, can you teach me how to play? And this sets up the entire rest of the show. And also, I would like to point out a direct quote from the show. So Uenoyama, he finishes fixing the strings, and he kind of like strums it. And it's like that perfect like guitar strum, like bring. And there's a quote, like kind of internal monologue from Ue, and he's like, I had no idea at the time that I was strumming hard on his heartstring with my own fingers. We are 5 minutes in.
Oh yeah. See,
I'm like, oh, it's one of these type of shows.
This is why Sarah watched this show. Star likes watching these shows for the pain. I like watching them for the romance.
For the romance. Oh yes. I'm like, these boys are gonna kiss by the end of this. Probably.
And Star's like, these boys are gonna cry.
These boys are gonna cry and kiss. There is potential for both. I break out the bad Russian accent. That's how you know it's serious business.
Serious.
It's very serious. Okay, so then we get the OP. It's very rock. I like it. That's all I wrote in my notes.
Yeah.
But also, the lyrics for both the opening and the ending are, like, I know that most anime does this, but this one specifically, the lyrics are, like, so fitting for the show. And so, like, the first line of the opening, I usually skipped the opening when I was watching it, so I didn't really take in most of it. But, like, the first few lines of the opening is, like, God, I forget exactly how it goes, but it's, like, the thing that you left behind has now become my everything. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's metaphor.
Yeah.
Symbolism in the lyrics.
Symbolism.
Like, all the song lyrics for all the music in this show is very much, like, ouch in the Doki Maker. It's very good. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Ugh. All right. So we cut back. It's a new day. Ue is sleeping in. We meet his sister, Yayoi, who is just kind of a minor character. She looks like him, but a girl and with long hair.
And she's an idol for 765 Pro.
She is not.
Oh,
no.
Okay. Gotcha.
These two characters are nothing alike. When I heard her name was Yayoi, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be confusing. Because yeah, I did immediately think of Idolmaster Yayoi. Yeah, so we meet his sister. His sister is apparently like dating, but also not dating one of his fellow band members. And she like is grumpy about it. We get a little bit of Ue's backstory. He got a guitar as like a gift from their dad. And he like taught himself in middle school. And then he says something like, but the better I got, the less exciting it was to play. And so this is kind of the story of how he's lost his passion.
Goodbye, passion. Forever.
Goodbye. Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.
Yeah. So he gets to school and he is still thinking about our ginger lad. And then we cut to break, like lunch break. And the ginger lad, Mafuyu, is there again on the stairs.
Oh, party at the staircase.
Party at the staircase. And so Ue's like, I'm not gonna teach him guitar. I need to get my nap spot back. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And then Ginger Lad wakes up and he's like, hey, here's money for the strings and also here's more money to teach me guitar. And Ue's like, I don't need your money. And then Ginger's like, okay, what about this bread? And
so he's kind of like the DM trying to convince the players to like, hey, follow this plot, right?
He's totally railroading. He's just like, do the thing. He's like dangling the carrot in front of the players, is like, hey, teach me guitar. I'll give you this piece of snack bread. But not nearly that emotional. He's just got like this blank look on his face most of the time. So we cut to after school, and Ginger Boy Mafuyu has just started following Ue around like a little lost puppy.
Yeah.
And Ue's like, I'm not gonna teach you, go bother someone else. But he ends up following Uenoyama all the way to like their band practice studio. And here's where we meet the other members of the band.
Yeah, tell us the boys. Tell us about the boys.
Yes. So there's two more boys here, and they are both older than our main characters. So our main characters are in high school. These two boys are college kids. And they are both blonde, but different types of blonde. So the first one is Kaji. He is the drummer. He's got very, very short, spiky, like bleach blonde hair. And just, he's got like some lip piercings and just the tiniest eyes you've ever seen. Like, not that his, like, whole eye is small. He's got, like, these, like, beep, like, little bitty irises. So he kind of always looks like he's a little bit suspicious of people. He's just like, He looks like a little bit spooky. And then the other member is Haruki. He is their bassist. I love him.
Yeah.
He's got long, like, shoulder-length kind of honey blonde hair. And he's always got it like tied back in like intricate braids and ponytails and stuff, and he's pretty and I like him. He's kind of like the group dad, and he's great.
I wonder who Star's favorite is.
Shush. They're all my favorite, okay? Hush. I just enjoy him for reasons. We'll get to it. But yeah. So, so this is the point where we finally learn what Ginger's name is, because we just haven't learned his name at this point. So he introduces himself. He's Mafuyu Sato, and he's a good boy. Hi, I'm Mafuyu Sato, good boy. And then he just like does a little peace sign. That's not what he does.
Good boy, TM.
That's what he does in my heart. But anyway, and so he's like, can I watch you play? And the others are like excited, but also nervous because they're like, oh shit, we gotta look cool. We gotta look cool for this new boy who just wandered in off the street. So they play, and it's very good. So the band animation is like so fucking good.
Yeah.
Although I will say that we've already mentioned Bakumatsu Rock 1. which set the bar so extremely low.
That's true.
Yeah, so I do think they use a little bit of 3D, especially for the close-ups on like the instruments. I like it goes by so fast that it was hard to tell if the hands are also in 3D, but like it looks really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the animation here is good, and I'm just like, oh my god, they have a fucking budget. Oh my god,
we were in Wake Up Girl's hell for so long with the animation.
We were Sarah, because like, okay, so I posted that fucking meme on Twitter, right? Of like the Gordon Ramsay meme of like, delicious, finally some good fucking food, and I just replaced it with finally some good fucking anime. The last few shows we've watched have set the bar so low that I want to cry looking at a guitar that doesn't make me just like feel sick to my stomach. Sarah.
Incredible.
The show actually has a budget, and I'm so proud of them.
I'm happy too.
You've done it! You won! You won the anime game! You made a show that looks good! I'm so proud of you! Anyway, yeah, so, I wrote, wow, look at our budget, in quotes, in my notes. It's like, wow, see what money can buy, baby? What do you fucking think this is, Samurai Jam Bakumatsu Rock? No, we actually show the hands on the instruments playing, like, for real, though.
Spoilers, Given doesn't have anyone to send into godhood, so...
Well, they do have one person go to heaven. I'm sorry!
Stabbed in the heart.
Oh no, and you're to blame. You give love a bad pain. Anyway, so anime. So anime is a show. So after rehearsal, Mafuyu once again asks, he's like, can you please teach me? And Ue's like, just go to the light music club. Just go join K-On! There's a whole other anime about that.
Meanwhile, Yui forks up. She's like, oh, new boy?
Yeah, Yui Hirasawa from K-On's just like, oh, someone's talking about us. Ping, ping, ping. She's got like a little antenna on her head that's picking up a radio signal.
We'll do K-On! One day for sure.
Oh yes, absolutely. We both adore K-On! It's happening eventually.
Big love, yes.
Big dokies for K-On! Anyway, so the next day, Ue is in gym, and he keeps thinking about his boyfriend. No.
Not yet.
He keeps thinking about Mafuyu. He's like, I bet he's there again. He's gonna ask me to frickin' teach him guitar again, and I'm not gonna do it. But he goes there, and Mafuyu's not there.
Oh. That makes him feel a thing.
He has an emotion about it, but we're not entirely sure what kind of emotion. So for the next few days, he just doesn't show up. And Uenoyama's like, oh, did I finally get my nap spot back? Where'd he go? I haven't seen him in a few days. Where'd he go? Where's my lost puppy?
Where's the puppy?
Where did he go? So we see, this just kind of like freaks him out, not like in a, oh Jesus, oh God way, but in a, he's just kind of thinking about his new boy all the time. He's like, I wonder where he is right now. Mm-hmm. And he's like spacing out at work, and all that. He actually, we see a scene of him at work, and he works at like a combini or something. And Kaji, their drummer, also works there. He's like, are you thinking about that ginger dude? You seemed really excited when he showed up for practice. And he's like, oh God, don't notice my gay panic, please.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. And then these two boys go to practice, and Mafuyu is there already.
Oh, hey.
He's like, hello, I am here, and I am ready to not join the band. He's like, I am ready to learn guitar, please. And he's got his guitar out, and he actually, like, can play it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I was gonna wait till the end of the episode to talk about this, but we're basically to the end of the episode now. So you see him, and his fingers are all bandaged up.
Yeah.
And he's like, did I tune it right? Did I do it good? And he says, like, I went to the light music club, but you guys seemed cooler. Can you teach me guitar, though?
Light Music Club was just eating cake, and he's like,
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I went, but I mean, they just, like, kept offering me tea, which was nice, but, like...
They don't play music there.
Yeah.
We'll actually cover K-On! And these jokes will make sense.
If you haven't watched K-On!, it's good and fluffy and a good time, and does not make you feel super sad like in this show. Anyway, so, I've talked a lot in previous shows about, like, the value of visual storytelling. And this is a very good first example of that. Like, they do also say, it's like, hey, yeah, I went to the light music club, but they show you this detail. They show you, like, all the bandages on his fingers. You know immediately he's practiced super fucking hard to the point of injuring, like, all of his fingers. That's how hard he's been practicing. But they don't, like, draw that kind of attention to it in the dialogue of the show. Because we as the audience see these bandages on his fingers and we can put 2 and 2 together and think, oh, he must be practicing really, really hard because he wants to make a good impression. Because Ue has asked him to do this thing, and so he did it. And he did it so hard that he hurt himself, which is how you can tell, okay, he's taking this seriously. He genuinely does want to learn guitar. Mm-hmm. The show does not come out and say this to our faces because it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
We can figure that out just by looking at this. And so few anime that we have watched for this podcast are capable of understanding that. And so I'm just fucking like, this was the bit that made me go make that meme image that I made. Where I'm talking about, like, fucking finally, a show that lets us just see things in an anime and doesn't force feed exposition down our throats. Because they could have easily, like, said, oh yeah, I practiced super hard for the last several days so that I could come back and, like, impress you so that you would teach me guitar. But he doesn't need to say that because we can figure that out just by looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
Visual, you are using a visual medium. Use the visuals to tell the story. And I'm just like, again, Wake Up Girl set the bar so fucking low. No. That just this small thing was enough to send me into a tizzy of like, holy shit, visual storytelling that's actually done well? I think I'm getting the vapors.
In my anime.
Visual storytelling in my anime? It doesn't happen much, but when it does, I get all flustered.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is something I'm very passionate about, in case you couldn't tell. And so just, like, finally, some good fucking anime.
Mm-hmm. I'm so happy, Star. I'm very glad I recommended this to you. I'm happy to hear the story again, too.
Yes, I am glad that you recommended this to me. 10 out of 10. I really did genuinely enjoy this show. This is a weird point to make 30 minutes into an episode. I feel like this should be at the either beginning or the end. We've talked about one episode, but I'm just like, I can't hold it in. I have all these feelings, and none of it's from the plot. It's just from how well crafted this show is. Fuck! Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I just, again, so many of these shows that we watch have just set the bar on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Well, to be honest, so many shows in general from all, like, U.S. shows, Japanese shows, everywhere.
That's also fair. I just feel like there's the only anime I watch these days is for the podcast and stuff that's in English that I can just watch in the background while I'm working. And so it's just like, oh boy, the bar's on the fucking floor. So it's nice to see a show that still bothers to jump over the pole instead of just step over it. Yeah. And it's nice, and it gave me emotions, and I'm like, oh, thank God, good anime does exist.
They do exist.
Maybe anime wasn't a mistake. So yeah, if anyone asks me why I really, really like this show, it's not because I'm like some romance fanatic who's like, oh boy, these boys are gay, I love it immediately. That's part of it. But also it's just a genuinely really, really good show, and it's got so much going for it. I'm flustered about it, and I feel like I need to just keep talking about the show, but
Well, Star, we have the rest of the season, so keep it up.
I know. I did not write as much for the rest of the episodes.
That's fine.
Because what happened was I got so into this show was I watched the first 3 episodes all at once, and I was like watching it while I take notes, which is what I usually do. But then for the last, this show has 11 episodes, and so for the last like 8 episodes, I just sat down and fucking watched them all at once and didn't bother to take notes because I wanted to actually watch it, and then I went back and took notes on the important bits.
Makes sense.
I binged it until 2 a.m. Which is late for me. I'm usually in bed by 11. But I'm like, I want to see what happens to the boys.
Yeah. So tell us, Star, what happens next?
Episode 2.
2.
Yes. So we are back at school, and Mafuyu is taking a nap on the stairs in their usual little spot. And so Uenoyama shows up, sits next to him with his guitar, and he's like, okay, I guess I can teach you, but don't expect too much from me. I've never taught anyone how to play guitar before, and because like he taught himself, and he's never had like a professional guitar teacher. And so he's like, I don't know how to teach people guitar, so don't have too high expectations of me. And so they talk a little bit about the different models of guitar because Mafuyu is just so clueless. He's like, why does yours look different from mine?
Yup.
And he's just like, well, they're 2 different models of guitar. And he's also like, also, yours is really out of key. Have you tuned it? And he's like, yeah, I tuned it like 3 days ago. 3 days ago? You gotta tune it every time you play it. And I'm like, oh boy, this child really is clueless. And so the way this show kind of like works into you, you're thinking, how did he get this guitar if he knows absolutely nothing about it? And it's not like an off-brand. It's a professional, nice-ass guitar. Like, it probably, like, it's an expensive boy. And so he's like, if you have this nice of a guitar, why don't you know anything about it? What's the deal? And so these questions are just kind of like floating around in your head. Like, what's the story here? What's the dirt? Spill the tea, but not on the expensive guitar, please. But yeah, so it's cute. So like they have like a little bit of like a teaching moment, like teaching him about like different models of guitar and stuff. And so back in class, Uenoyama's like sitting there and he's like not paying attention to class at all. He's like sketching. He's like trying to think like, how do I teach this boy guitar? And he's like on his phone under his desk looking up how to be a good guitar teacher. And I'm like, oh, this boy's so flustered. He's trying to do his best. He's got emotions. I like it. He wants to do a good job with this new boy that he found on the street.
Aww.
It's very cute.
Google's how to train a puppy.
Yeah, right? He's like, positive reinforcement, use treats and a clicker. He's like, okay, what's this? The bridge. What's this? The string? Good boy. Click, click, give him a treat. I've had several dogs. I'm familiar with this technique. Anyway, so, band rehearsal. Mafuyu is not there, but Uenoyama asks if he's allowed to bring his new puppy. The others are like kind of pointing out, is like, it's kind of weird for you to be like so enthusiastic about this, and they're like teasing him. And this is another like very naturalistic conversation. So I'm gonna talk about this again. Sorry that Star has passions about screen design and screenwriting and things of that nature. Haha. So dialogue is a very good way to get exposition across and like teach you things about the characters that you're watching on a TV show. But a lot of anime are so eager to tell people all of their secrets that it comes off very, very ham-fisted. Like they're just, they let there be no intrigue. They don't let you ask questions because they immediately answer the questions by like punching you in the face with, bam, this is how long these characters have known each other. And it just leads to like some really unnatural dialogue sometimes. So this conversation I wrote down, other shows would, at this point, include in conversation a line like, wow, Ue, we've known each other for X amount of years, and you've never acted like this. And so that's the dropping of exposition of, okay, they've known each other for this many years, and also he's never acted like this, as a way to drop exposition. But because that's not really how people talk, it always sounds super forced, and it drives me up the wall whenever shows do this.
Makes sense.
Especially, like, it's a way that a lot of shows use as a handicap to get exposition out of the way very early on in a show. It drives me crazy. But the show didn't do that.
It's like when you're in, like, elementary school and you have to, like, write a story about this thing you learned about Sudan. And you're like, I live in Sudan, which is blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just comes off as like, we don't need to know how long he's been in the band for. We'll learn that as time goes on. You don't have to shove this exposition down my throat in the second episode. And I just appreciate so much that this show didn't do that. Again, the bar is on the floor. But still. It's just a trope that drives me crazy. And so, once again, this show not doing that and actually, like, having more naturalistic dialogue is appreciated.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you get the idea from this conversation that these guys are close. You know that the other two are older than Uenoyama because at some point they go outside and take a smoke break. So you're like, okay, these two are adults. They're at least a few years older than him. They're not in high school.
Mm-hmm.
They tease him, and it's like, they kind of think it's kind of funny and charming. So you get the idea that he usually doesn't care a lot, and he's a lot less personable. You can pick this up from this conversation without it being directly told to you, which is very nice. Thank you for this meal.
Yes, and I do remember, too, that the voice acting in this show is really good, too. There's
yes,
a lot of subtleties.
It's very, very good, well voice acted. Just oomph. Yes, thank you. Finally, some delicious fucking anime. I'm gonna be referencing that meme so much, that Gordon Ramsay picture.
Yep.
Because, like, that's me watching. That was me watching this entire show. I'm like, thank you. Finally. Finally. Goddamn. Anyway, so at some point we go back to school, and Uenoyama tells Mafuyu, he's like, hey, you can come to rehearsal and watch us play as long as you don't get in the way, and as long as you're not weird about it. And Mafuyu's like, okay. So at this point, they are taking the train together, and he starts asking questions about the other members. And so this is where we get a little bit more exposition. But it's nice because, like, it's woven in the dialogue. Sometimes it is easier to just tell people things.
Especially when you only have 11 episodes.
Especially when you only have 11 episodes. But it makes it more natural because this is genuinely a character who's asking a question. Thank you. So we find out some more about the college boys. So there is Haruki. He is like a graduate student. He's their bassist, the one with the long blonde hair. And then Kaji also goes to that same university. And I forget exactly what they say, and I didn't write it down, but he is like an undergrad still, I think. So they get to practice, and Haruki, the bassist, is like, hey, do you want to play a little while we get started? There's a short scene of, like, them learning how to use an amp and stuff like that.
Yes.
We get, like, a little montage of them, like, teaching him some more during practice breaks. The college boys at some point go outside on a smoke break, and they're talking just kind of, like, about the boys. And, like, Uenoyama's like, he's kind of got this rough outside, but he really is a good person, and he does care. Look at him take care of that sad little puppy with the expensive guitar. It's really cute.
What?
Yeah. So later, Ue's, like, still trying to coach him, and the others bring up, hey, if you're gonna be using our studio space, pay up. And so they're like, you need to get a job. If you're gonna be tagging along with us, you need to help us pay for things like studio space and renting stuff out, etc. So they try and find him a job. We get a little bit more details. All of the other boys have multiple jobs that we see a little bit throughout the series. The notable one that you kind of need to know, because it comes up later, is that Haruki, the bassist, he works at, like, this fancy cafe that we will actually see a few times.
Ooh. Teaser.
Yeah. He also has a friend who is a Twitch streamer who, like, who, like, live streams how to do cute hairstyles on girls because his hair's so long, and so he's just turned away from the camera. And he's just like, okay, everybody, now I'm going to show you how to style a cute hairstyle to impress your boyfriend. Ignore the fact that this is a dude. His head's turned away. Just look at his hair. It's so pretty, right?
Yeah.
It's great. And so you get the idea. It's never explicitly told to you, but you get the idea that he has picked up things about styling his own hair from being on this, like, hairstyling show for women. And so he's always coming in with, like, these nice braids or this pretty ponytail with, like, a French braid in it. And I'm like, this boy likes his hair.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's cute. It's a little detail. I like it. So then at school, Uenoyama's friends are like, why have you been hanging around with Mafuyu? He's weird. And so these two boys, they go to the stairs to practice. They talk about how Mafuyu's like a really fast learner. He asks him kind of like where he got the guitar, without directly asking him. And so, cause Ue got his guitar from his dad. And so he's like, where'd you get that expensive ass guitar anyway? Did your dad give it to you or something? And Mafuyu's like, I don't have a dad. And he just says it so matter of fact that Ue's just kind of like, sorry, fuck.
I'll stop asking, sorry.
I'll stop asking. And so he asks what kind of music Mafuyu likes. And Mafuyu's like, I don't really know that much about music, but there's this one song that I hear in my head a lot. And he kind of sings it a little bit. La 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 la. And this, if there was not like kind of a big emotional moment in the show so far, this is it. La 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 la. Like, there's like a color shift in this room. There's like these little glow dust bits like romantically flying around the room. And so he's just kind of like just singing this little like la 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 song, but like fucking Ue starts crying a little bit. It's very dramatic. And then we cut to the credits, and they always show the title of the episode after the episode's over, and the episode title for this one is Like Someone in Love, and I just wrote in my notes, gay, in all caps.
Here we are.
It was just like so dramatic, and I'm like, yes, feed it to me. Yum, yum, yum. Thank you for the good dramatic scenery.
Yes.
Episode 3.
Oh.
So we've got another like kind of opening scene with Mafuyu's kind of like narration. And he's got this line that he kind of repeats a lot. He's like, I'm not lonely. That he kind of like says to himself whenever he's just kind of like by himself. And he continues to like kind of carry this guitar around. And there's a line that, I'll carry the thing you loved with me. And I just wrote in my notes, somebody fucking died. I don't know who. Somebody died. My tragic backstory sentences have been going off in the background for days. And this is a big bing, 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 tragic backstory incoming, brow.
Sarahbot 2.0 gave me this anime for some reason. I wonder who died.
Burp, 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 burp. Bummer idol show. Burp, burp, band, bap, sad boys, beep boop.
Beep boop.
Processing. Sad boys. Burp.
Beep.
Just gonna make robot noises for a while. Anyway, so after the opening, the college boys are talking, and they like kind of meet up on their campus, and apparently Uenoyama has asked if Mafuyu can join the band. And they're like, well, he's kind of a newbie, that's a little unusual. But then the text they got said, you'll understand why when you hear him sing. And they're like, okay, I guess he's a vocalist, whatever. But there's part of this scene that I didn't catch the first time I watched it, just because I wasn't paying that much attention. So when these two boys meet up, so Haruki, the bassist, is just kind of like chilling there. And then we see Kaji, and he pulls up on his motorcycle, and Ue's sister, Yayoi, is on the back of the motorcycle. And it's like, are they dating? What's going on here? Because she said that he dumped her, but just, what the fuck? And so Haruki kind of like has this internal monologue of, you're such a fucking heartbreaker, stop it! And I'm like, what's up, Haruki? What's that about, huh?
Yeah, what's your deal?
Like, okay, the first time I watched it, I kind of brushed the scene off. Because I thought maybe it's just like, oh, he's just a womanizer and he's like always got a girl on the back of his motorcycle. I thought that's what he was talking about. But then it kind of shows up later and you're like, oh, that's not what this scene was about at all. But we'll get to that. We'll come back to that.
Start really quick. I have a really important note about Kaji.
Yeah?
His voice actor is Nagi from iDOL 7.
What?
Yeah. I'm just gonna look it up casually. And yep, that's Nagi.
They sound nothing
No, they
alike.
don't.
Holy
I was just like,
shit,
these voice actors are really good. All of them have been in a lot. In fact, Ueno's...
the blonde boy Matrix.
Yeah, Ue's voice actor has also been in a lot. Like, he's been in a few other iDOL anime, including, like, Udapri. He's one of the, like, side M boys, not one of the main ones in the anime. But, yeah. But Nagi.
Nagi. He's here. It's so funny because those characters like the exact fucking
They're
opposite.
so different.
That's so funny. I love that so much. Oh my god. Well, now I can't unsee that.
Yep.
This is Nagi's like evil dark cousin with the lip piercings.
But they're both heartbreakers. Kind of.
This is how to be a heartbreaker. All right. And anyway, so Uenoyama, he's acting really upset for some reason, and we don't really know why at first. But it turns out that he asked Mafuyu to join the band, like kind of off screen, and Mafuyu turned him down. He's like, I don't think I should. And Uenoyama is like super frustrated, and he like does not want to take no for an answer. So he keeps like just trying to convince him. He's like, hey, so you know, if you want to like come to practice and like you want me to like teach you more guitar, I could do that. You know, you just you know, I could do that. And Sato just like completely ignores him and like ignores the conversation and keeps walking away. And Ue's like so frustrated. He's like, why does he say no? Why does he keep saying no to me? And he Googles like how to invite someone out after they rejected you.
It's so precious.
It's so good because he's like so flustered. He's like, oh, well, now I see you're join the band. Why are you rejecting me? I thought you'd say yes. What the fuck? He's so upset, and it's adorable. So later at band rehearsal, the other boys are like laughing at him, and he's like, but I thought he joined the band and he didn't want to. What the fuck? And the other boys are like, haha, fucking nerd. And then it turns out, Haruki's like, oh, well, yeah, he's not going to come today because he's got a job interview. I've been texting him. And the other two were like, wait, you actually have his contact info? And then Haruki's like, wait, you don't? And they're like, oops. And then Haruki also kind of like gives Ue a lecture. Haruki is very much kind of like the big brother of the group. He's the one with the good head on his shoulders, and we've already discussed that is one of my favorites in a group. Yep. Like, kind of the one who, like, makes sense.
Star likes the dads.
I like dads! I mean, like, he's not even, like, he doesn't really even have, like, the dad energy of the group. He's just kind of like, he's like, sit down, son, I'm gonna teach you something about talking to your friends.
But I feel like he has a similar vibe to like Yamato and Teru, right?
Definitely. Like the kind of like the mature big brother, like I am the group dad. I'm gonna make sure all my friends are okay. I'm the responsible one. That always ends up being my favorite somehow. Like, I love other character archetypes so much, but like kind of like the mature, down to earth, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm the sensible one in the group.
Wears a t-shirt that just says lawyer.
Wears a t-shirt that just says lawyer. That's what, listen. I'm not sure if I would consider Teru part of that archetype, but he does have the shirt going for him. Yep. He's a good boy.
He is a good
dad.
There's 3 dads in that show.
So many dads.
Dads, teens, and boys.
Dads, boys, and teens. If you haven't listened to our Side M episode, go do that, because that's what we're talking about. That's a show with a lot of dads in it. Big dad energy. Anyway, So he kind of like gives Ue a lecture. Is like, you didn't even ask why he didn't want to join the band. You gotta worry more about other people's feelings, because you know, like, music is all about communication, so you gotta learn how to communicate better and like understand other people's feelings. And I'm like, hell yeah, you hippie motherfucker, I love this, thank you. Tell him about his feelings. So we cut to Mafuyu. He got a job at a live house, which is like kind of a place where various bands can perform, which is good for him. He'll learn some things about music. So he goes outside after his shift, and Ue is there waiting for him. And he's kind of nervous, and he starts to like bring up band stuff, like he's gonna ask him out to the band again. And while they're having this conversation, a new boy approaches. Da-na-na!
Oh.
So this new boy, I wrote his name down. Hiragi is his name. We see him occasionally. He's kind of a side character, but I call him Highlights most of the time, because he looks like he dyed his hair and then he dyed it blonde and then grew it out and didn't bother to re-dye it. So like he's got like blonde tips, but his hair's still really short.
Frosted tips.
It's like frosted tips, but really grown out. And so he immediately starts talking to Mafuyu and is like, oh, wow, is that you? Hey, isn't that Yuki's guitar? And Sato just like tenses up like a fucking deer in the headlights, like this boy's got some trauma. And he just freaks out. His pupils get so tiny and he just fucking runs off. He just books it. Bye, son. There he goes. Yep, nyum. So Ue follows him and eventually catches up to him. He's like, hey, what the fuck was that about? And then the conversation kind of shifts. So Mafuyu says, he's like, I'm worried about being in a band because I'm not very good at expressing myself. And everyone thinks I'm weird because I can't express myself very well because I'm always so quiet. And Ue actually gets like super mad at this and like grabs his collar. He's like, how can you say that? The only reason I invited you to this band is because you quote unquote shook me to my core. And I'm like, Ue, that's gay. And so he's like, can you sing for me again? And so he does.
Wow.
It's cute. And it's just like, oh, boys bonding about their feelings. And then we cut back to Highlights, Hiragi again. And then there's another boy there, who's like barely in the show. He's like hardly important, but his name is Shizuzumi. Or Shisuzumi, I don't know. There's so many syllables in his last name. And Hiragi Highlights is like, I saw Mafuyu. Dun dun dun. So like, who are these boys from his backstory? Womp 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 womp.
Womp womp.
We cut back to the band boys for the last scene of the episode, and he's officially joined the band, and Mafuyu is like, are you sure that you're okay with me? And Ue's like, yeah, we like you. And Mafuyu's like, okay, I will join the band.
Yay!
Da 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 da! We've acquired a vocalist.
Yeah, made contract with vocalist.
Form a contract with me.
Become a band.
Being banned is suffering. How many episodes are we gonna quote Madoka Maguka? Serious question.
Well, I know at least the next two we will, so.
Oh no. I'm so worried about the show that Sarah's watching for our recommendations because she keeps texting me about it and I'm like, oh yes. Yes. Watch this show and tell me things about it. Anyway, episode 4. So, Uenoyama is working. So this like first scene, you see him like sitting on the floor of his room surrounded with like notebooks and guitar tools, and he's like playing guitar with his headphones hooked up, and he's just like very, very focused. His sister tries to get his attention and just does not work. And like without even telling you, once again, good visual storytelling, you can tell that passion he said he lost is back now because he's just kind of obsessing over this song now, and you're like, hell yeah, his boyfriend gave him the passion back. Fuck yeah. Yeah, thank you for this good visual storytelling. I eat it.
Yes, delicious.
Okay, so we get another scene with the college boys, and this is the point where we learn more about Haruki and that scene from the last episode that I thought was a little confusing. So we are watching, he's like up on the rooftop hanging out with his friends or something, and he looks down and he sees Uenoyama's sister, the Yayoi, and she's talking to Kaji, and freaking Haruki's just in the background, like, clenching his fist and just being like, God damn it, God damn it, God damn it. He keeps talking to girls and not me. And I'm like, oh, that's why you called him a heartbreaker in the last episode. You got a crush on the drummer, don't you?
Crush.
Oh, he's got a crush on the drummer. Oh, everyone in this band is gay.
Everyone's in love with each other.
So now we have a scene with another very minor character who is a girl in Ue's class. Her name is Kasai. She's not that important, but she's got like short, kind of like reddish, blondish hair. And we've seen her a few times at this point, and she's obviously got a crush on him in the way that like she's kind of like always in his space a little bit. Like she's always the one who's like, I'll go hand this piece of paper to him specifically, or I'll kind of side-eye him when he leaves the room with his new boyfriend, that kind of thing. And so Ue is like, he's taking a nap at his desk, and it's lunchtime, and all of his friends are like trying to wake him up, and she goes over and she kind of starts like poking him and like shaking his shoulders, like, okay, it's time to wake up now. And she can't wake him up. He's not waking up for her. But Mafuyu shows up, calls his name from the door, like not even that loud, and the boy literally jumps up from his nap. He's like, okay, my boy's here, gotta go.
Awake.
I'm awake. I have heard the sound of my lad. I must go. My boy needs me.
Aww.
And Kasai, this girl's just kind of like frowny face.
Oh.
So contention. Ooh. So the boys hang out at their usual spot. And Uenoyama tells Mafuyu, he's like, yeah, I'm working on a song based on that song that you keep humming. And Mafuyu's like, oh, they're so cool. He's got like the sparkly eyes. It's very cute.
Aww.
Yeah, so we see like kind of a short montage at band practice. Mafuyu's like officially in the band, and so they kind of integrate him a little bit.
Yeah, new band member.
Boys in the band. It's very cute. It's mostly a montage, but it's just like cute little scenes of them practicing, and it's sweet.
Wow.
So then we cut to Haruki, the bassist, at his cafe job. He's like works at this like small but very fancy cafe. Like they make coffee with like the big siphon thingy, so you know it's expensive.
Wow, that's fancy.
It's fancy shit. And so he is kind of like working behind the counter, and he's talking to this friend. And this friend of his, we hear his name, it doesn't matter. But his friend's talking like, yeah, I've been working on getting a concert together, but there's so much stuff that goes into it. It's hard, and logistics and stuff. Hey, you've got a band. Do you want to play in this concert I'm planning? And Haruki's like, yeah. So they have a gig now. The band boys have a gig.
Yeah,
Yay.
new gig. New boy, new
gig
gig.
for the boys. New boy, new gig. Yeah. And so the rest of this episode is mostly just kind of like cute character fluff. So Uenoyama and Mafuyu go shopping for like effects pedals. It's mostly fluffy. It's a lot of like cute character interactions and stuff. But while they're walking around, the girl from his class, Kasai, that girl from earlier, she's walking around with a friend, and she sees them hanging out together, and she gets really irritated. She's like, why does they keep hanging out together? What's their deal? Why does he keep hanging out with him and not me, is what she's thinking, I'm sure. But then the friend pipes up, and she's like, oh yeah, you mean Mafuyu? I used to go to middle school with him. There was this rumor going around that he was dating another guy. Dun dun dun.
Oh.
Yup, so that's where it kind of just cuts off the episode right there. But there was like this really cool visual effect they did where they show Mafuyu with this other boy like from behind, and he's got his arms wrapped around him in very much like a ooh, we're dating kind of pose. But then before you kind of like, it pans up and see their faces, like the film reel clips. And so like you have like this little film reel sound effect and it just like cuts to black and the episode is over. It was very cool.
Whoa, mysterious.
Cool. Yes. Mystery. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so episode 5.
Oh.
So Haruki tells the other band members about their new gig, and they're like, "Oh boy, we are gonna have to practice a lot to get Mafuyu ready for this." All of their previous songs were only instrumentals, but they're like, "Well, Mafuyu, since you're here and you've got such a good voice, you should sing one of the songs." And he gets so fucking sparkly. He does this thing where he just like makes this face where he just like fires sparkles from his eyes, and it's so cute. And I'm like, oh no, he's a precious boy.
Good boy.
Like he doesn't say anything. He just like looks at them, and he's just, his eyes are just like bing 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 bing, like sparkly. And I'm like, oh my god, he's so cute.
What a good boy.
He's got them sparkly anime eyes. Oh, so the subtitle for this episode is "The College Boys Engage in Gay Panic." And by gay panic, I mean they are gay and panicking.
Yep.
So the college boys are hanging out at a bar, and Kaji is like, "Oh shit, I've been drinking. Can I come sleep at your place tonight, so that I don't have to ride my bike home drunk?" And not Kaji. And then Haruki's like, "Yeah, sure, I guess." And for the record, he plays this off like it was an accident. It super wasn't, because there's like a short little shot, like a 2-second shot of Kaji like kind of looking down at his beer before he drinks any of it, and he's just like, and then he kind of like side eyes Haruki, and then you like see him take a few sips, and he's like, "Oh no, I've been drinking. Let me sleep at your house." I'm like, There's also a tidbit here where Haruki's like trying to light a cigarette, and he accidentally, like, I guess the flame like goes up too much and it singes the end of his like very long bangs. And then Kaji like kind of goes to like touch his hair. He's like, "Well, you just keep growing your hair out. It's so long now." And he kind of like makes this face, like a face.
Like a what?
Like
wait. Say that again. Sorry.
Like a, you know, like a I'm looking at you.
That's
Are you looking at me? I'm looking at you like I'm looking at me. Like in kind of a flirty way. And now it is time for College Boy Backstory Flashback.
Ooh.
So Haruki basically admits he's had a crush on Kaji for years, like even before the band started. He basically started this band because of his crush. So he's like, I was in a band, but then that band fell apart because our vocalist quit. I saw Kaji on campus and I thought he was really hot. He was always carrying around a violin case, so I figured out he was a musician. And then at one point he realizes, oh shit, this boy plays the drum. Will you please join a band with me and this high schooler who I saw perform at a live house once? And I guess he was like, okay.
Sure, fine, whatever.
He's like, yeah, I guess. It's very good. And so back in the present day, Haruki is obviously still super in love. Like gets very, very flustered thinking about this handsome bandmate who's sleeping on his couch. Tries to take a picture of him while he's sleeping. He's like, he's sleeping. Should I try and sneak a picture? He's so fucking cute, and he's asleep on my couch, and he's too tall for the couch, and his feet are hanging off, and it's adorable. I'm gonna take a picture of him. Kiss. It's very funny. Haruki is just like the definition of gay panic, i.e. I am gay and I am panicking, and I love him. So yeah, at some point, Kaji wakes up at like 4 a.m. and he's like, I'm sober now, I'm going home. And so we see he lives in like this big house, but he lives specifically in the basement of this big house. And he goes home to another boy sleeping in his bed. And we're like, whomst the fuck is this?
Oh, the drama.
We'll talk about that boy later, because at this point all we really get is like his face and like he's asleep in the bed, and I'm like, whomst the fuck is that? Well, we don't get any more of that till later. So we see a short scene of the schoolboys at school. And then the band boys are at like a yakiniku place, one of those things where you have like the grill in front of you and you just like cook all your meat on top of it. I set one on fire once.
Oh no.
Sumimasen and fuego des. And then the same thing happens. Kaji drinks and ends up going home with Haruki again. But this time, like, Haruki kind of like collapses onto his bed. He's like, I'm drunk and tired. Just put a futon wherever you want. Kaji's like, that's too much work. I'm just gonna like flop down literally on top of you and immediately fall asleep. And Haruki's just like, he goes to space in his brain. like there's this like slow zoom in on his shocked face, and like the object of his affections is just like flopped over on top of him and literally fallen asleep instantly, and his eyes just widen, and then the background shifts to like a galaxy as it like slowly zooms out, and it's like, oh, he's going to space, he's so flustered. Me too, buddy, me too.
Aww.
It's really cute. So he kind of like scoots out from underneath him, tucks him in, and then sits down at on the floor and just like puts his face in his hand like, what the fuck?
What do I do?
Yeah, I wrote, he gets super flustered again, tucks him in, and has a gay panic on the floor.
So cute. I had a gay panic on the floor when I came on my first date with my wife.
I remember. We weren't living together at that time, but I believe you did sit on my floor and just freak out for a while.
Yup.
Maybe a little bit. I remember this specifically. It was very cute. Anyway. Schoolboy time. So Ue has finished writing the song, and Sato listens to it. There's like a very tense moment of, oh, is he gonna like the song? Oh, is he gonna like the song? And he likes it. And then so Mafuyu has to go. Then Ue just kind of like lays down in his feelings for a little bit, and he's like smiling. He's like, yay, he liked the song, yay. It's very cute.
Cute.
But now we have the last scene of the episode.
Dun dun.
It's a very cool scene. Like it's a scene, but it's a well-produced scene.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about that, why in a second. So Ue is in art class. And he has to like draw portraits of a partner. And so Kasai, the girl who likes him, comes up and he's like, hey, do you want to be partners with me? And he's like, yeah, okay, I guess. And so while they are drawing each other's portrait, she starts talking about the rumors she heard from the friend. But we get some more information this time. We hear some more. She says, Sato or Mafuyu probably likes you, but you know he was rumored to be dating a boy from another high school a few years or last year, and he committed suicide. Aww. And there are rumors that Mafuyu was part of the reason he did it. And Ue is just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of like where the episode cuts off. But there's some very, very cool like sound and visual techniques happening in the scene. Sound specifically. Mm-hmm. But the visual kind of ties in with it as well. So in the background of this scene, like out the window, you see like this airplane flying by, and it's kind of like leaving a trail. And so as he starts to hear these rumors, you hear the sound of the jet engine airplane getting louder and louder. It's almost like static. And
it's just Alex Jones' voice being like, the chemtrails are making the boys gay.
That's not where I was gonna go with that, but sure. All these fucking chemtrails making our students gay. What the fuck? I thought you were gonna make a joke about, and then the plane crashes into the school.
Oh no! And then Zombieland Saga.
And then Zombieland Saga. Because you know who was on that plane?
It was Junko.
Junko was on that plane. No.
Not that.
But yeah, so there's kind of like, the audio trick here is very cool because it starts out really, really quiet, and it like slowly amps up through the scene as kind of like the realization dawns on him. And then as soon as it cuts to credits, like he kind of like has this inner thought of like, and then everything that had been building up, and like the audio is louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. It's starting to like hurt your ears, and then it just shuts off. For like the end of his thought, it's like everything came crashing down. And it's such a cool audio effect that a few movies I like have used in the past. Where it just makes you... Because, like, this scene is obviously, like, he's very shocked by this revelation. And so this audio effect, like, it's the audio version of feeling your heart drop into your stomach.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. I loved that they put it in here. Another very good example is in Wolf Children. I'm not sure if you've seen that movie.
I have.
It is one of my favorite movies, and they
good.
do that with, like, the rain falling during, like, the saddest scene of the movie. So it's like, she's running around in the rain. I'm not gonna spoil what happens, but, like, she's running around in the rain, and the rain sound just gets louder and louder and louder to the point where you can't hear anything else. And then when the realization hits her, dead quiet for, like, the rest of the scene. Like, no sound at all. And it's, so good. So good. I love anime that actually does things.
Yeah.
We love an anime that actually, like, is good.
We like anime that are not good, too. But we also like an anime that are good.
But just finally, some delicious fucking anime. Thank you. Anyway, episode 6. We are halfway through the show now because it's only 11 episodes, which is weird. But so we pick up pretty much exactly where we left off. Ue is reacting to hearing the rumors. His friends kind of, like, come over and break the tension, and then when they leave, she kind of apologizes. She's like, I'm sorry I told that. Most of that was just a rumor, but it is true that a boy named Yuki Yoshida died really suddenly last year. And you can tell, it's like, oh, you mean the guitar's original owner, Yuki? Eyes emoji. Yep. So, cut to Mafuyu. He is working at his new job at the Live House.
Letting all the ships come in.
Yeah, burr. Oh, Sarah, all the ships come in.
Yep. All my ships.
All the ships are coming in at the lighthouse. That's where Sarah Bot 2.0 works. She works at a lighthouse so that all the ships can come and visit. This new lore that we're crafting.
About me.
About you. The robot version of you. That is just you, because the original Sarah died several episodes ago. Anyway. So he's working, and then Highlights Boy shows up. Again. And is like, hey, can we talk? And so they just kind of talk for a while, and it's just like kind of Highlights talking at Mafuyu for a little bit. And so he's like, I guess that is Yuki's guitar, isn't it? I guess that makes sense. You guys did both have your parents' approval. We find out that Yuki's mom gave Mafuyu the guitar after he died.
Yeah.
And so Highlights asks, he's like, I wonder if you're trying to be positive about it, or if you just can't let go of the past. And Mafuyu's like, yeah, I don't know either. And he grabs the guitar and he walks off. And I'm like, hell yeah.
Yep.
You don't know him shit, son.
Nope.
Yep. So Ue is still in shock. He's kind of like dazed and confused about these rumors that he's heard. And then Kaji comes to visit. He's like, hey, I put some drums on that song, and I think that Mafuyu should write lyrics for it. But then the next day, when he tries to get Mafuyu to write the lyrics, he immediately says, I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. But they are eventually able to convince him. And they're like, no, you should write it. It'll be good. You're the one who's going to be singing. I want you to write this song. And as soon as Ue says that, Mafuyu's just like, okay.
Okay.
Okie dokie. I will do what you ask me to do. Yes, sir. It's very cute.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, what should I write the lyrics about? And then Haruki's like, what if you write about a past relationship? And everyone else in the room is just like,
Haruki, read the room.
Wah.
Come on.
Haruki, come on, bud. And Ue's like, I don't want to hear a song about his past relationships, because his past relationships are not going to be about me. And I'm like that point doesn't come up until later, but I'm just like, oh boy, he's having an emotion.
Yeah. Well, and also he doesn't want to traumatize him.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mafuyu tries to write lyrics. He gets very stuck. He's like trying to type on his phone and he can't get very far. For a large portion of this episode, I wrote that he takes his guitar and goes on a sad boy walk.
Mm-hmm. As
he
you
eventually
have every idol or idol adjacent episode, when they have to write a song, you gotta go on a sad walk at some point.
You gotta go on a sad walk and think about your feelings. So he does this, and he eventually ends up at the beach. And remember, the beach, it's gonna be important later. But yeah, so he ends up at the beach, and he has his little, like, I'm not lonely thought again. I'm like, okay, you keep doing this. What's up with the line? So now it is schoolboy time. Ue is still, like, very kind of, like, hedgy, about seeing Mafuyu, because he's like, I know this thing about his past that I shouldn't know, and I don't know how to feel, and it's like, it was, like, shady past, what do I do? And so he goes to the stairwell to take a nap, and, Mafuyu is there, and he's like, just be awkward. And so, like, Ue lays down to take a nap and pretends like he's sleeping. And Mafuyu's like, I'm just gonna talk for a minute. You don't have to respond if you're tired. I'm gonna do my best with the lyrics because the truth is, there's someone I used to love, and there's something that I want to say with the lyrics. Oh, are you sleeping? That's cool. And I'm like, boy. But you look at Ue, and he's, like, definitely not asleep. His eyes are wide fucking open listening to this. And he's like, oh, I think I just realized what jealousy feels like. And I'm like, ooh.
Oh shit, I have a crush.
He's jealous of the dead boyfriend.
Yeah.
Feel your feelings. Pew, 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 pew. So, now we get another flashback. Beginning of episode 7, by the way. We see Kaji, the drummer, the edgy boy drummer, watching a mysterious black-haired boy playing a violin, and he's having a lot of internal monologue thoughts about love. And he's like, I always thought that love was this soft and precious thing, but it turns out that love is actually more violent. And I'm like, okay, you have some thoughts.
Yep. Maybe that's not good.
You have some emotions that you need to talk about with. So now, present day, present time, we cut to practice. And, Ue has started taking out some of his frustrations on Mafuyu. He's like, why aren't you improving enough? You've been acting really weird. You need to be taking this more seriously. And then Haruki calls him out. It's like, well, don't be an asshole. He's writing these lyrics for you. And also, you're also weird. So what the fuck? And then it's just like, awkward scene. And then they end up calling practice because they're like, we're not going to get anything done at this point. There's too much energy in this room. It's weird.
Too much teenagers.
There's too many teens energy in this room.
This dad's like, okay, these teens.
Okay, these teens need to calm down. Bye. We're cutting off practice. I'm the dad. So the boys kind of like split off. And it ends up with Ue and Kaji kind of like hanging out after practice. And Kaji kind of figures out that he likes Mafuyu just based on how flustered he is. And it's a very comedic scene of just like, oh my god, have you put your hands on Mafuyu? And he's like, what are you talking about with your innuendos? He's like, you should see what your face looks like. And he's like, what does my face look like? He's like, you look like a man in love. And they just is on the floor. It was really cute. I didn't do a good job of describing it, but it was a very cute scene. Cute. And Ue's like, I don't know what to do about these new emotions that I have and whatever. And Kaji's like, hey, it's cool to be gay. I fucked a dude or two in my life. It's fine. Which is where that conversation went. And he's just so blunt about it. It's great. And he's like, so yeah, he's a good boy. Also, you need to be more supportive of your boyfriend because he's writing this song because you asked him to. So, like, be a little nicer to him. Come on.
Yeah, channel your emotions correctly, please.
Yup, exactly. So we get like kind of a cool or cute little scene Mafuyu is kind of like talking to some of the other friends from Ue's class. And so they say, hey, we'll come watch your gig. And Mafuyu's like, what do I want to tell these people, in parentheses, with the lyrics that I'm writing?
Mm-hmm.
So the boys are at practice. And at some point, like during practice, they like kind of stop for a break. And they're like, wow, Mafuyu, you've improved so much. But he's like already on the floor asleep. He's like kind of like sitting up against one of the amps, and they're like, okay, I guess we're gonna take a break then. And so the college boys step out, and then Ue sits down next to Mafuyu, and he's like, wow, his fingers are super red. He must be practicing really hard. And this is the point where he thinks, I'm kind of scared of the song he'll write. I don't want to hear I don't want to hear a song about him being in love with someone else.
Yeah.
And it's like a jealousy emotion.
Aww.
Yeah. So then we get a Kaji flashback. We learn some more about this boy in his youth. So apparently he played violin in high school, but then a mysterious transfer student shows up. His name is Ugetsu. Ooh. He's got like this kind of like wavy, long, not long, but it's just like kind of like anime boy long hair. Mm-hmm. It kind of like hangs in his eyes. And he also plays violin, and he's a fucking prodigy. He keeps winning all these contests and beating Kaji. They eventually become friends, and then sordid lovers is what I wrote in my notes. Mm-hmm. And also, like, they at some point just, like, hug, and there's this narration from Kaji who's being like, he looked like he was the saddest thing in the world, and I loved that about him, but I also pitied him, and I wanted to just fucking rip all of his clothes off and see what kind of sounds he'd make. And I'm like, holy shit, Kaji! These boys fucked!
This is intense. Maybe not the healthiest relationship, but here you go.
No, probably not. There you go. We don't see these boys fucking, but you know it happens. And now they're roommates. Oh my god, now they're roommates. And so that's their deal. So, like, he calls him his ex, but they're still very much, like, kind of clingy all over each other when they hang out at the house together, and they maybe sleep in the same bed, and it's like, what's the relationship here, boys? What's the deal?
It's complicated on Facebook.
Yep, it's Facebook official. It's complicated.
It's complicated.
Is that still a thing you can make your status on Facebook? I haven't used Facebook in years.
It used to be a thing. I have no idea.
Because I feel like you don't get that level of drama anymore, or maybe the youths don't use Facebook anymore.
I don't think the youths use Facebook anymore. I don't know if anyone
that might
does.
Be what it is. No, I still have a Facebook account, but I only use it to, like, check on some groups that I'm in. So yeah, we finished our emotional fuckboy Kaji flashback. He's not a fuckboy. He's a boy who fucks.
There's a distinction.
There's a distinction, yes. God, these boys fuck. Anyway. So we're back in the present day. We get a little bit more montage of the boys practicing. And then a week before their show, Kaji suggests, hey, maybe we should stop practicing. He's good enough at guitar that we're good. You really need to focus on the lyrics now because you've made, like, no progress, and it's more worrying that we don't have lyrics for this song yet. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, I think Kaji and Mafuyu are alone together. Yeah, they're just kind of, like, by themselves outside. And he's like, you gotta face your past if you want to write those lyrics. Or do you want to run away from having to verbalize your feelings? And I'm like, whoa.
Drama.
The gauntlet has been dropped on the fucking floor. What you gonna write about, oh boy? Mm-hmm. Yep, okay, so, episode 8.
We're getting in there.
Yeah, we're getting there. So, the schoolboys are prepping for finals. And then Ue and Mafuyu are, like, barely talking to each other. It's kind of awkward. Like, when they talk, it's only about, like, school and finals and stuff. And it's very brief. So, like, yeah, there's tension. These boys have some tensions in them. Mafuyu is still stuck on the lyrics. At some point, Highlights Boy shows up at his house. I keep calling him Highlights Boy, but then I just think about Highlights Magazine. That's a thing, right? That's what it was called.
Yes, it is.
They had like mazes, and they were always in the doctor's office when I was a kid.
Yep, exactly that.
You could do like a word search anyway. So Highlights Boy has this internal monologue about how he wants to be forgiven. And he's like, I knew that you and Yuki were dating, but I didn't say anything. And even when we were in a band together, I didn't say anything, and I kind of regret that now. And it's like, I know how you feel. And then Mafuyu, who has just been this soft boy, quiet lad this entire thing, just fucking yells at him.
Yeah.
He's like, you have no idea how I feel. And I'm like, hand on chest. Oh, my boy, my son.
Good for you,
oh,
kid.
He has emotions. Mm-hmm. Good for you. Yeah. On the one hand, good for you. On the other, ouchie.
Ouchie.
Yep. So now we get a flashback to the three boys. That's Mafuyu, Hiragi, who is Highlights, and Yuki. They were all childhood friends. They all lived in the same neighborhood. And Yuki and Mafuyu were both really close because they both had single moms and they lived right next door to each other and they got along like super well. They were inseparable. They ended up going to different high schools, and then the others, minus Mafuyu, they went on to join a band. And then at some point, Mafuyu and Yuki got into a quote-unquote pointless fight, and then 2 days later, Yuki was dead. Mm-hmm. The way they describe it in the show is that he didn't usually drink, but then he drank a lot, and Mafuyu found him. And so I was a little bit confused the first time I watched this scene, because they aren't really clear about what happened. But so in my head, I was just like, so did he just drink a whole lot and the alcohol killed him? I'm not sure if that counts as suicide. But going back to that first scene of the first episode, and a very minor detail in this scene, he hung himself.
Yeah.
He drank too much, and then he got all worked up, and then he hung himself, and that's how Mafuyu found him.
Which is rough.
Oof. Yeah, extremely rough. Because, like, in this scene, you see, like, the chair toppled over. In the very first scene, you kind of, like, see him. He's, like, kind of in an upward angle, and Mafuyu is, like, down on the floor, like, looking up at him. And I'm like, they never show his body, really. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of have to infer what happened, but ouch.
Yeah, it's rough.
Oof. Ouch. Big ouchies. Pain in my everything. Ow.
Yeah.
But again, good visual storytelling. Mm-hmm. Thank you for not being like super oblique and showing me this poor lad's corpse. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, after this conversation, we unflashback. Mafuyu invites Highlights to come to their band show. He's like, I've been kind of avoiding my feelings because I don't know how to feel about Yuki's death yet. We see another short flashback of it's just Yuki and Mafuyu as like itty bitty babies. They're like 5 years old in this. And Yuki's like playing outside and he sees Mafuyu kind of like hiding and not talking. And Yuki's like, hey, why don't you talk? And Mafuyu's like, if I talk, my dad hits me. And I'm like, ah!
It's more sad now.
No, it was already sad, and then you just put on another fucking helping. Thanks, God. But Yuki has this line like, I'm not your dad, i.e. talk to me. And like, you get the idea this is kind of like the start of their friendship. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm sad. Thank you for the feels. Thank you, but ouch. This has done a ouchie to the Doki Maker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, end of the episode. It's concert day.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is very tense. They're trying to figure out what to do because, to their knowledge, Mafuyu has not written the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tense. Like, you kind of see, like, the short scene of everyone they've invited is showing up. the sister Yayoi, the high school friends, the backstory high school friends, the hot violinist fuckboy roommate. Everyone is here.
Everyone is here.
Everyone is here. It's like fucking Smash Bros. Now they're gonna fight. No. And so right before, so the concert starts, they're gonna be the second band to go on, and Ue's like, let's just go on without vocals. And Mafuyu kind of freaks out. He's like, you're always telling me that I can do it, you're always telling me not to give up, but now of all times you're giving up on me? And Ue's like, well, you didn't do it, time's up, so it's time to just give up. And Mafuyu, once again, gets so angry that he squeezes the guitar strings and one of them just fucking snaps in half.
Uh-oh.
The boy's got very strong fingers. Maybe playing the guitar is a good choice for him. He's got the finger strength for
You do bar chords really well.
Oh, hell yeah. He's got them bar chords, like, damn.
He's got it.
He's got that shit down. So episode 9 picks up immediately at this scene. So, like, the broken string is, like, there. They're going on in, like, 10 minutes, and he's like, oh, fuck, what do we do? Oh, fuck, what do we do? Oh, fuck, what do we do? And Big Brother Haruki, level-headed one, shows up, and he's like, well, it's not the end of the fucking world. Go to the store by the station, get some new strings, we'll replace it. When a string breaks, you just have to fix it. Didn't you fix it for him the last time this happened? And Ue's like, you're right, father. I did do that. And he fucking runs to the store. And so you see him getting super emotional while he runs to the music store to buy new strings. He's like, I'm the one who told him to sing, and he always tried so hard when I told him to do things. He did everything I asked him to. Why did I give up on him? I'm such a fucking dick. Not in so many words, but you can tell that's what he's feeling. Again, the show doesn't have to tell you that he feels like an asshole. You know he feels like an asshole. You know he's an asshole. You know he feels super bad about this just by how he's kind of, like, thinking in this moment. He's like, God, I'm such a fucking dick! Ugh! So, he gets back, and he also has this part of the monologue where we lay out the metaphor on the surgical table. Guitar strings are like your heart. If you strum them too hard when they're pulled to their limits, sometimes they snap. And it can feel like that can't ever be replaced. But if you can find someone to replace them for you, it feels like maybe everything can be fixed. Ooh, metaphors.
Ooh, they're in love.
It's like, yes. If your heart breaks, you just have to find a hot new guitarist boyfriend.
You just go to the store.
You buy some more.
You buy another one.
You get yourself a new boy at the supermarket. So he fixes up the guitar strings, and it's like just kind of like this very, very like kind of somber scene of them like fixing the guitar strings. It's very sensitive. And now it's time for the boys to go on. And they're all just kind of like, I guess it's up to Mafuyu what happens now. I guess we either go on with no lyrics, or maybe you can just kind of like la 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 sing. And they're just kind of like, well, whatever happens, time to go.
YOLO.
And so Mafuyu during this is kind of having this internal monologue. He's like, I never know how to react to things. I can't express myself like everyone else. I can't even cry properly when I want to, and it hurts so bad, and I want people to understand that. And so it gets to the point in the song where he starts singing, and he starts singing. He has lyrics, and all the other boys are like, oh shit, he has lyrics. Where'd these come from? And it implies that he's making it up as he goes. And I'm like, the pitter pats. And it's so fucking good. He's an amazing singer. And just like, oh my god, it's good.
And then everyone cries, including the people watching the anime.
Everyone cries. So while he's singing, we get a flashback to him and Yuki. It's like them as kids, and then a scene of Mafuyu's dad getting arrested, and then like holding hands in comfort. and then they grow up together, and then it's them kissing, and then it's the fight. And Mafuyu, like, during this fight that they had to lead to his suicide, Mafuyu's like, "Are you willing to die for me then?" And it's just like, oh god, it was a dumb fight. And Mafuyu's talking. He's like, "I always see you around. I know you're not there, but everywhere I go, I see your face. And I can't forgive you, and I can't forgive myself, but I want to." And fuck, I'm crying again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually crying right now while we're recording a podcast. I knew it was gonna happen, but fucking shit.
Yeah.
My cat's here. She knew.
She's like, yes, mother, hand me your tears.
Give me your tears. I go, seep, seep, seep.
Seep, 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 seep.
But I actually, I have the lyrics pulled up in another tab for this song, and I'm not going to read, like, all of it, but, I do want to read, like, parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, "I continue on with these feelings inside me. Please tell me how I'm supposed to close the door on this love. Your everything has lost its tomorrow, and now it's wandering around eternally along with me." And I'm like, fuck! I'm in the pain hole.
Yeah.
This is where I go when I'm in pain. I'm in the pain hole. It hurts my Doki machine.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the song, it's like, "Even if your everything loses its shape one day, you'll always be here within me as I try to move forward again. Even though I couldn't say goodbye, you'll always fucking be here with me." I got the tears again! God damn it!
Yeah.
I need a minute. Yeah. So, after the song is over, Mafuyu, like, he just looks like he's spent all his energy on the song, and he, like, really weakly kind of, like, walks over to Ue, who just kind of, like, puts his arm around him, and they walk off stage together.
Aww.
And it's very emotional. They're both very obviously worn out, but Haruki is trying to, like, play it off. It's like, "Oh, our guitarist just walked off stage. I guess I gotta do MC for a while."
Yep.
It's really cute. And so we kind of, like, hear him prattling on in the background, trying to distract the audience, and the two boys, like, kind of go off stage, and, Mafuyu's like, "Thank you for helping me make it this far," and Ue is just, like, really worked up, and they fucking kiss!
Yeah.
And he just, like, swoops in and just cuts him off mid-sentences, like, "Smooch, you did super good. I'm gonna go back on stage now. We'll talk later."
Yeah.
And he goes, and it's just like, big Dokies. The boys. The boys are in love. Look at them go.
Aww.
Boys in love.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! That's why they call it the genre name.
And I do appreciate how, like, it's like as he's resolved his, like, more or less resolved his emotions around the other person, and it's not like, I mean, it's dramatic, but it's not like petty.
He was able to come to grips with his own feelings before he worked his way into a new romance.
Yeah,
yes.
And it was like him doing it on his own and not because of the other person. Like, a little bit,
yes,
he was egged on, but
yes.
it wasn't,
I mean,
like, codependent.
It was kind of like the push, but it wasn't the shove, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not...
He was not shoved into another romance as a rebound. It was, "I have come to grips with my new emotions, and I'm okay with this happening. It's okay for me to be in love with another person now because I've figured out how I feel."
And it's less like him being healed by another person and more like him healing himself, which I appreciate.
Overcoming trauma, yes. Like, I mentioned this in a previous Wake Up Girls episode. I joked in the last one, like, I love trauma, but I want to elaborate more on that. I love seeing characters with trauma, with sad backstories, with emotions that at the start of the show they have not worked through. I love seeing them go through shit and then come out the other side a better person. And this show does it so perfectly. It's a delight to watch, and it makes me cry, but they're like the happy tears of, yes, my boy has finally articulated his emotions through music with his new boy, and fuck, I love it so much. It's so good.
Yeah.
I cry with the tears on my face. I'm crying. So there's a short little scene of Mafuyu, like, kind of like, after he gets that kiss, Ue goes back on stage to finish their set, and he just kind of like sits on the ground, and he's like, I'm not lonely, I'm having fun, and there's someone new I'm in love with. I wish I could talk to you again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, baby son, I want to hug you.
Good boy.
I know it wouldn't fix anything, but I just want to hug you.
You good boy.
So after the concert, Highlights Boy comes and finds Mafuyu, and he said, Yuki knew that you liked music, and so he wanted to write a song for you. But Mafuyu's like, but I wanted us to do it together.
Yep.
And so that was kind of the difference. And I'm like, this is the boy who they write the song together. This is the one that he's meant to be with. And that's sad, but like it makes sense. Like, the brain logic is there, and you kind of see, like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, and also it could also just be the extent of him learning how to communicate with someone that he loves, too, which is important.
That also, too, yeah. Because, like, there was, like, that whole scene earlier, music is about communication, and Yuki feels like the kind of person, from what we know about Yuki, he feels like the person who's like, you like music? I'll make music for you. Which is all fine and good. But Mafuyu's like, well, I want to make music with you, but he was never able to articulate that. And so now with Ue, he's like, we are going to make music together. That was always the thing on the table. And it's like, oh, good boys.
Yeah.
Good boys with a good foundation to their relationship. I love it. So then the credits roll, but it's not the end. Because we get an after credit scene.
Ooh.
And this is a flashback with Yuki and Mafuyu on a date. And it's an odd scene, but it's hard to articulate my emotions about this scene. It was just kind of like, it was interesting, I guess, to like kind of see how these two boys were different. And how they kind of interacted differently. And so basically it's like winter, they go to the ocean, and Yuki's like, the ocean sucks. And then Mafuyu's like, I've never been to the ocean before, I don't think. And Yuki's like, oh, well, actually, the ocean's great. And now it's cool. We're going to stay here a while so that you always remember that I was the first person you got to go to the ocean with. And Yuki's like, or not Yuki, Mafuyu's like, I don't think I'm going to forget. And Yuki's like, no, you're gonna forget. Because, like, eventually, within, like, 10 years, you're probably gonna forget that we did this. And Mafuyu's like, well, I don't think I'll forget the whole thing, but I'm gonna forget the little bits and pieces over time. And that's what loneliness feels like.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, little buddy. And then, like, he kind of says, in a few months in summer on a blinding stage, I'll figure out what that feeling is. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, boy, son. Aww. Boy, son, boy, son, my boy. So the next two, so we've done the emotional concert scene. We still have 2 more episodes of the anime.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the next 2 episodes, they're paced a little odd.
Yeah.
They don't feel like the last episodes of a show. They feel like middle episodes. It was like, they're not bad. They just don't feel like the ending to a show.
Yes.
Which makes me feel like they're leaving it open for a season 2.
Well, a movie just came out, or at least it came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did see, I saw that it came out. I haven't watched it yet because I figured that maybe we could do a separate episode.
Yeah, I have never watched the movie yet either, so.
It, like, came out while I was in the process of watching the show.
Well, that's
and if we waited, like, 2 more days to record, I would have watched it, but at this point, I have not seen it yet.
Oh, future episode.
I have seen some spoilers, though, because I was Googling for, like, the header image for the social media post, and I was like, la-di-da, I need to find a picture of these boys. Hey, that didn't happen in the anime! Oh, god damn it! So we gotta watch the movie at some point. But yeah, so last 2 episodes are mostly just kind of like wrapping up, but also setting up the future. So we cut to Uenoyama, like, after the gig. He's at home. And there was a scene, like, during the concert between Kaji and the sister. And so now the sister thinks that she's been dumped. And so she's, like, in the living room dramatically cutting her hair. And she's like, I got dumped. I'm sad. Fine. I'll chop all my hair off. Oh, that'll show him.
Yep.
And Ue thinks, wow, being in love must be tough. Boop. Boop. Boop.
Uh-oh.
Oh, fuck, I kissed Mafuyu! Oh, shit, what if he doesn't like me back?
Oh, shit. Was that weird? Oh, no.
Oh, no, I just fucking kissed him and then I didn't talk to him at all afterwards. I completely forgot until just now. What the fuck do I do? It's just like, you dumbass, what the hell?
Yup.
He's a dummy, I like him.
Mm.
I love all the characters in this show. So, the next day at school, the school friends are all discussing the concert, but Mafuyu is absent. He apparently caught a cold. Because he caught cooties from Ue.
Yep, definitely cooties.
He got the cooties.
Got cooties.
He got mono.
Uh-oh.
So, Ue goes to bring Mafuyu some drinks and snacks, and he's very tense the whole way over there. He's like, I came all this way, I might as well go, but oh god, what's gonna happen when I go into his house? What do I do? I kissed him the other day, and I don't know if he likes me back. What do I do?
Yup.
So he goes to his house, and so I haven't mentioned this at all, but a very important character detail about Mafuyu is he's got an adorable fucking dog.
Yeah.
He's got this little Pomeranian.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep seeing the dog every time he's at the house, and the dog is like his icon online when the boys are texting each other. And we finally learned the dog's name, and I'm so happy. The dog's name is Kedama, and he's adorable. So little Pomeranian is very cute. The dog is also like the main character in the end credits, because it's like just art of the dog like walking around and doing dog shit, and I'm like, yeah, you're a dog. Thank you for finally telling me the name of the dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mafuyu is like very sick, very feverish, and he's like, oh, thanks for coming over, I'm gonna go lay down in bed now. And so, Ue, like, kind of sits there to keep him company for a few minutes. Kind of against his will. But he's like, well, I don't want to bug you. And Mafuyu's like, just hang out with me for a few minutes. And he's like, okay. Whatever you say, boyfriendo. And so they kind of talk about the concert. Ue asks, so, hey, that song from last night, was that a song about heartbreak? And he says, yes. Next time I want to write about something else. And then he kind of falls asleep. And then Ue's like, he's already thinking about next time. Next time I want his song to be about me. And I'm like, oh.
Cute.
So at some point, we have a scene at Haruki's cafe, and his friend who owns the venue gives them like footage of their performance from the night before. We have dinner with the band boys after Mafuyu is not sick anymore. And they discuss the video and what they're gonna do from here. They're like, hey, if we've got a new person in the band, we gotta come up with a new band name. And so Mafuyu's like, can it have the word give in it? Because, and this is the first time that the college boys ever hear about this backstory, and so they kind of have this look on their face like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
But he says, the guitar was a gift from my dead boyfriend's mom, and they're like, oh fuck. And he says, at first it felt like a curse, but it ended up being a new start. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah. The boys and his emotions. Yeah. So the boys make a Twitter. They put the video online. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do some, like, social media shit. And I'm like, this is a weird point in the story to do this. Because you've only got one episode left, buds. Like, this feels like mid-series iDOL anime. So it's just doing things in a weird order, not in a nonsensical order, but just like weird compared to the status quo. Yeah. And also that you've only have one episode left and you're like setting stuff up for the future that we're not sure if you're gonna have at this point in the anime. But at some point, the schoolboys are hanging out, and they're like, hey, where do you want to go and just hang out? And they end up at like this tourist date spot by the ocean. And so they kind of like run over to the ocean, and they're looking out over the ocean, and it's beautiful. And Mafuyu's like, hey, by the way, I like you.
Oh.
End of episode.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the confession come out. Does Mafuyu Sato is gay? Have you seen that article?
No.
Like the does Bruno Mars is gay?
Oh my god. No,
oh, Sarah, look it up.
Okay.
Sarah, look it up. Look up does Bruno Mars is gay.
Looking it up now.
So, does Bruno Mars is gay? Does Mafuyu Sato is gay? Yes!
Incredible.
Anyway, so, episode 11. The first scene of this episode is the funniest thing that's ever been put on film. Because what happens is, it's the immediate, like, we see the confession again, and Uenoyama's, like, sitting there, he's just, like, staring at him. And just, like, you see the scene of, like, this large stone kanji for love, like, floating towards the camera, and it's, like, panning up, like, the prehistoric times is in the background, and he's like, love, bro, love, bro. And there's, like, a T-Rex, and,
incredible.
like, the kanji, like, forms on top of his head in, like, this big rainbow font, and it says, it's mutual.
I do remember this.
And there's, like, a fucking, like, it zooms out on the boys, like, talking to each other, and there's, like, a National Geographic narrator. He's like, although he may look calm now, inside of his mind, Ritsuka Uenoyama is going through several emotions. And then we pan to the inside of his mind, and it reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where you've got, like, all the little internal brain
Yes.
SpongeBobs, like, running around and doing things, but instead it's just a whole bunch of ues all wearing shirts with different emotions on them, and they're throwing a farewell party for the one that's a virgin. It says Virgin Me on his t-shirt, and they're like, farewell, we'll miss you so much! I can't believe it's finally happening!
Holy shit.
And I'm like, this boy is so good.
Big ol' crush.
A big old fucking crush. Like, I'm talking, like, rainbow kanji above his head, everything. I'm like, oh my god, this boy is not straight.
No.
But so, the internal brain children all take a moment, and they're like, wait, rewind. A few months ago, we were talking to the other bandmates and said that dating other band members is always a bad idea.
Uh-oh.
And we specifically said people who date other band members are dumb and they should drop dead. And now we're fucking hypocrites.
Uh-oh.
What do we do?
Uh-oh.
And so they kind of just, like, they go tell Haruki. He's like, hey, Haruki, we're in love. And Haruki's surprised. He's like, just keep it a secret so that it avoids drama. Don't go putting it on social media so that people don't get mad at us for dating other band members, because it's always a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, congratulations on the gay, but, like, keep it to yourselves. Not because I'm a homophobe, but because you guys are both in the same band and it's gonna cause drama.
And plus, if I don't let this happen, then how am I supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and
right.
if I don't let you guys date, then what am I gonna do when I eventually confess to my crush? Everyone in this band is fucking gay, and I didn't know when I started the band. So that's Haruki's internal monologue.
It's a band built on love and running on love.
But yeah, so they go tell Kaji, but he pretty much already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, whatever, yeah, you're gay, congratulations, yay.
Because if I remember right, didn't, like, each of them separately confess to, like, Kaji about each other?
To Kaji?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he's like, yeah, like, just now? What?
It's like, yeah, I knew all along, congratulations on actually making it official. So then there's just, like, some, like, weird epilogue fluff. Like, they take promo photos at a studio. They have a birthday party for Haruki. There's just kind of a lot of, like, fluff with some of the other characters of, like, it's not even wrapping shit up. It's just like
just fluffy.
It's just fluff, and we're setting stuff up for the end of the series, or we're setting stuff up for season 2. And so we have a final ending scene of Mafuyu and Ue. They're like at a festival, and they're like kind of sitting and talking. And Mafuyu's like, I want to sing more. And Ue's like, well, what kind of song do you want to write next? And before he can answer, we cut to credits, leaving it open for a sequel. Gimme season 2, please.
Whoa!
Whoa! Yeah, and so like we said, the movie did just come out. I talked for 2 hours about these boys, so we're going to do a separate episode on the movie. It's not going to be the next episode. No. It will probably... I'm thinking, like, the soonest we can do it is over the summer, because you and I have, like, our next several episodes planned out already.
Yeah.
But I defo want to come back and watch the movie, because I want to see more of these boys, and I would love to also see a second season, please. Onegaishimasu. Anime producers, please, more of the boys. Like, the manga's still ongoing. You got plenty of material. Sip, sip.
So, Star, did you like my recommendation for you?
Sarah, why would you show me this trash? I
know.
Hated it.
It wasn't even an idol anime.
Not even an idol anime. Idol Days is canceled.
Rip.
Talking about fucking shows that aren't idol anime, what do you do? No, I loved it. Wow. I really genuinely loved it. Yeah. It was really good. Good recommendation. Thank you, Sarah.
Woohoo.
Closing thoughts. Well, actually, before I do my closing thoughts, you've seen it, but it's been a little bit. So give me your thoughts on the show. I just talked for 2 hours.
Well, okay. So I didn't, because usually I watch shows like seasonally, so I watch them episode by episode, especially newer ones. But this one like flew over my radar. I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like, I saw Given, and I thought it, because like the one word, I'm like, oh, it's probably like a horror, like a race, so I'll wait to watch it. Totally not a horror. I should have looked at the summary. But then I did watch it, and then like it was the same thing like as you were. It was like, yeah, I'll watch a little bit at a time, and then I like binged it.
Nice.
And I'm like, I love this. It's so good.
Oh, I love these boys.
I love it. And like, you know, I feel like not necessarily idol anime, but music anime has a lot of like the whole, it gets drama, right? Like Your Lie in April. Hibike Euphonium is one of my favorite anime of all time. So like I was expecting the drama, but I like how it was done. I think it was very good, and I love the boys a lot, and same as you, Star, I can't wait for more.
Yeah, so again, I don't know if Wake Up Girls and all the other like large cast anime have just set the bar super low. But just, it was so fucking refreshing to see a show with one plot and a small group of characters that get fully fleshed out in only 11 episodes, and they do it really well. Imagine getting character development for all of your characters. Wow. Wish Wake Up Girls could have done that.
Incredible.
Instead of giving us like 19 different plots and barely anything on any of the characters, we had one plot with a lot of boys who are all in love with each other, and
good music.
And good music, and good acting, and good writing, and good visuals, and good screen design, and it's a good anime, Sarah.
But no Bakamatsu era Japan.
Yeah, they didn't have giant snakes emerging from the ground, so I did have to deduct some points for that.
That's fair.
I re-listened to that episode recently, and just hearing myself lose my mind over everything that happened in that anime was just like, yeah, I was a little bit feral in that episode, but honestly it deserved it.
You just watched Samurai Jam Bakamatsu Rock.
If I sit through Samurai Jam Bakamatsu Rock, I deserve to be a little feral. Star can have a little feral, as a treat.
As a treat.
Yeah, so the one just infinitesimal, the smallest possible critique for this show is that occasionally, especially towards the end, sometimes they draw the characters with like really thick necks.
Yep. Thick.
The neck sizes like vary dramatically depending on, I guess, who the key animator was.
Yep.
To the point where, like, the necks are as thick as their heads. And I'm like, okay, I know it's a yaoi, but, like, still.
They don't work out that much, guys.
They don't work out that much. Like, they repeatedly harp on how Mafuyu is supposed to be, like, this skinny little boy. but he's got this thick-ass neck just like the rest of the characters, and I'm like,
Swole.
y'all, I know you're horny, but tone down the art, please. I mean, at least we didn't have any yaoi hands that I noticed,
Yes.
but, like, still.
They need delicate hands to play guitar.
Yeah, that was the one thing I noticed that kind of, like, irked me a little bit, and it was not constant. It was really just, like, I have a feeling that some key animator just likes to draw thick necks.
Mm-hmm. And also, I agree, the other critique I'd have, as you pointed out, is that the last 2 episodes are, like, very, very, very different in tone from the rest of it.
Yeah. I feel like if you had pushed it back and made the concert the second to last episode, and maybe, like, kind of condensed some of the fluff, it would have flowed a little better. But it's just like, okay, we already blew our concert scene, and now we gotta fill 2 more episodes. Character fluff.
Here we go. Which, I mean, I don't complain about normally, but it was a very different tone.
It was like, if it was at any other point in the show, it would have been fine, but because of some of the revelations they had to have, it had to happen after the concert scene, but the entire show was leading up to the concert, and so then anything that happens after that's gonna feel like an afterthought. It was just a weirdly paced show. I feel like if it had a second season, or if it was more obviously getting a second season, it would have been more forgivable, but it's like, it just felt a little weirdly paced at the end there.
So, Star. Best boy.
All of them.
Okay, that's fair. Me too.
like, seriously, I could talk for a while about why I love all 4 of the main characters. They're all very good boys. Like, Mafuyu, sad boy. I'm going to love him immediately. That's my type. That's the type of character that I write. If you didn't already know that, castoff-comic.com is my webcomic.
Read the comic.
This bad boy can fit so many sad boys in it. Anyway, so, like, I love him automatically, and like I said, I love characters going through trauma and coming out better people, and that was his whole fucking arc, and I love it, and he's in touch with his feelings, and oh my son, I love him. I identify so much with Ue, it's not even funny.
Aww.
'Cause, like, I very much, like, I definitely have the resting bitch face. Like, hardcore. And so I feel like I intimidate people a lot. And, like, just his talk about, like, how you kind of lose passion for things the better you get at them. That's me with art occasionally. Like, it's just, like, you kind of lose the passion for it once you do it too much. And, like, it's hard to articulate. Especially because I'm just seeing that I've already talked about this anime for 2 hours and I don't want to bloviate too much right at the end. But it's just like, he's a very good, very believable, very well-written character. I get him. Kaji's a horny fuckboy. I identify with him less. But he still has depth. He's an interesting character, if nothing else, and I would love to see more of him. And then Haruki is just a fucking gift. He's a good boy. He's a little panicky, but we can work on it. I love him. And he, like I said, I've already talked about this. I love the characters with, like, who are, like, the backbone of the team, who are, like, the responsible ones, who's, like, big brother, big dad energy is just like, yes, I am the soul of this group, and I'm gonna keep us from falling apart, damn it.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Good boy. So, our next episode, I am going to watch an anime that Star suggested to me.
Yes.
And as a hint, I found this because I was just curious, and I was looking up reviews.
Uh-oh.
And here's a review on Crunchyroll, and here's your hint.
Oh, bless. Thank you for this gift.
3 stars. This is your hint for your next episode. 3 stars.
Okay.
It was aight, but, like, all these chicks got hearts in their eyes like some effing hentai, you know what I mean? Other than that, like, if you don't know the band about, it's still kind of aight, but, like, if you knew more about them, it's probably be raw. However, I am too fat and lazy to figure that out. DM for questions. So there's your hint.
Shakespeare hanging out in this Crunchyroll comment section.
The best part is I was like, should I friend them on Crunchyroll? And I went to their profile, and that is their only review.
Oh! Amazing!
And don't DM me for questions. DM that person. That's all. So yeah, that's your hint.
So next episode we are continuing the suggestions. I suggested a show for Sarah about some girls with hearts in their eyes, like, and it's a thing.
You know what I mean?
Like, you know what I mean?
I think it's pretty hype so far.
Yep, so that will be our next 2 episodes, because that show is longer than this one. It's 2 seasons, so look forward to it. Yeah. So Sarah, if people want to find us online, where can they go?
Well, we have a website. You could go to idoldays.carrd.co. That's idoldays.carrd.co. Or you can just go to idolluminati.net. Same address. It goes to the same place. If they want to find us, if they want to find us on social media, where can they find us?
Yes, so we also have social media. We've got a Twitter and an Instagram. The username for both is iDolDaysPod. That's IDOLDAYSPOD on Instagram and Twitter. We also have a Discord chat. The link is on our website, which we already discussed what the website is. And we also have a YouTube version now.
What?
So I have been working my way through our backlog of episodes, making them into video versions that you guys can watch on YouTube. And I've just been like adding in a couple of like relevant screen caps as I go. But for the most part, it's just same audio with a couple of cute little visuals.
Woohoo!
And so my goal is to release 1 episode a week on the YouTube channel until we get caught up with our buffer. And after that, we'll figure out what happens after that. But I've just been uploading that to my personal YouTube channel because I already have too many YouTube accounts. I didn't want to make a new one. So that is just The Starfish Face on YouTube. There's a link on our website. It's easy to find. I'm keeping them all in a nice little playlist. It's very good.
Also on our website is a link to our Discord, which we mentioned before. So
yes,
come and join if you use Discord. Post about your best boy or best girl. Post your Idol Illuminati theories. We're ready.
Yep. And also, if you have suggestions for, like, anime you would love to see us talk about, we are always accepting that. We've got our next several episodes planned out, but we're starting to think about what we're going to do in summer.
Yeah.
Like what summer anime we're going to do episodes on. I have a few ideas of stuff I would like to do.
Yes.
But we want to hear what you guys want us to cover. So join the Discord and let us know.
Especially this season. This winter winter 2021. There's so many Idol anime.
There's so many. Like, I saw Post-Apocalypse Idols. There's that one mocap idol show. That like looks weird, but I actually kind of dig it. Yeah. I've watched like 1 episode. There's a lot coming out this season, and so like it's all new fodder for our Idol Anime podcast. Yeah. So if there's one or several that you guys want us to watch and review, we will gladly do that. Take it into consideration.
And then if you really, really like us, you can leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast listening place you listen to, or a thumbs up on YouTube.
Yes.
Tell us
Please do.
Leave a comment with your best boy or best girl. People will be confused why there's a bunch of names. It'd be great.
Drive that engagement. But yeah, like seriously, the reviews and like positive comments and just spreading the word about the show. If you've got other friends who are into idol anime, like tell them about the show. That really helps us out.
Go to our website.
We're not doing this
and buy the t-shirt. And then people will be like, what's that weird t-shirt you're wearing?
And you'll be like, I'm so glad you asked. Have you ever heard of the Idol Illuminati? But yeah, so like we've been doing this podcast for almost a year now, and we've got several like consistent readers, and I'm in webcomic mode. We've got like a lot of like really good listeners, and we love you guys, and we would super appreciate it if you would like help share the show around and like spread the love.
Yeah, be our Woda.
Everybody, be our Woda. Red and pink, those are our colors, I think we decided.
Yep.
I'm red and you're pink based on our costumes.
Yep.
Athena's purple, but she's only been on the 1 episode.
Only on Halloween. That's the only time I can see my wife.
Yeah. It's a terrible curse that you've been burdened with, but it's...
That's what happens when you marry a goth.
Mm-hmm. You only get to talk to them on Halloween.
Yep.
And you choose that day to record a podcast with them.
Sometimes you get lucky on Friday the 13th, too.
You have to walk under a ladder and it's like a portal into the wife dimension. Anyway, this has been Idol Days. Thanks for listening. We've been Lady.
See you next
live. Bye.
Bye.